You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about doing what it takes, right? I mean, sometimes we just have to muscle through those really hard days or put in our time, maybe through internships and education to eventually get the career we want, but we got to do what it takes to get to the end of the road, to get to our goal. And I want to make sure you stay with us because in our next segment, we're going to be joined by Gavigan, and his story is very unique and good in that it is. He was actually stabbed by some gang members, and it was very traumatic and really life-altering for him to really focus in on what means the most to him in life, let alone all that he had to do to physically get back on point. So stay with us. You want to hear his story. Also, we invite you to call into the show. Again, that number is 800-333-0001. I'm standing by because I realize sometimes doing what it takes is tricky, right? I mean, it's hard to know what is the solution, what is the answer. And I will be there right beside you, and hopefully we can brainstorm something that will keep you motivated and give you some answers. Now, in fact, I'm getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. Let's actually go check in with them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How can I help you?
I was wondering, I just need advice on how to juggle an elderly parent and also have a full-time job. Just seems to be very difficult.
Yeah, you know, I hear it in your voice, right? Because it's almost like two separate lives that you have. And the elderly parent, is it your father, your mother?
It's my mom.
Your mom. Okay. Oh,
yes.
We love moms, dear moms, right? We love our moms.
Yeah.
I love our moms. And first of all, you're just doing the best you can. So every day that you wake up, every day that you have a long day at work, and then you got to go check on your mom, at the end of that day, when you rest your head on your pillow, just know that you're doing the best you can. That's number one. Number two is it's really building, some people call it a tribe, some people call it a team, it might be a family, an extension of your true family. So does your mom live with you, or does she live at like a assisted living home?
No, she lives by herself, and has been for the last 4 years. My father passed away, and so I do a lot of back and forth. I go after work, and my becoming a full-time worker is new as well. So I've been home all these years, taking care of my family, and she recently, advanced in her ability to be by herself, and all of a sudden I'm sort of, trying to balance it all. And so it's been really hard. And I am doing my best, but it is really, really, taxing,
well,
I guess.
I do invite you to think about who you can enroll to support your mom in, this time of her life, because you will be there as much as you can. But it's really thinking about, is there a neighbor that is home quite a bit that could be a go-to if you need it, if your mom's in a pinch or something should happen? Is there any organizations for free, low cost, or even a cost that's affordable for you that you could have somebody come over? I remember my grandfather, he lived to be 101 and a half, but we ended up hiring this person to come over. And I mean, she just read to him, and she would fold laundry, she would watch TV with him, but it was really just a companion, a couple hours, 5 days a week. And it meant the world.
Yeah, if you can guarantee that I can find somebody as caring as kind as that sounds, then I would love that. But sometimes you just don't get that when you get, you have somebody do a test run, you just, there's a lot of, people that are really just don't care, unfortunately, or just in it just to make money and, realize they can get away with a little bit. So they
Well,
don't do the best they can.
and you know what? That search for that person is like anything else in life, right? People who look for babysitters, people who look for a date,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
It's finding that diamond amongst the rough, right? But the thing is don't lose hope. I just invite you from today's conversation to number one, always remember you're doing the best you can. But then, creatively think of how you can build that team, that tribe to
Now, that
care
sounds
for
like
your
a good
mom.
idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
and again, I appreciate you calling in. We're talking today about, doing what it takes, and you're doing it. So that's good, okay? But
I
thank you so
appreciate that.
much for reaching out.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
It's been very helpful. Take care.
And I love that she asked that question, right? Because we're all going to be there. We all are going to care for a sibling, a parent. It could be a pet, right? As we get older, it gets tricky because we have what we're doing in our lives, but the empathy, our hearts, make sure that we care for those that we love and make sure that their transition is comfortable. So it's a tricky one, but I have full faith that she will be able to find that solid team to support her. Now, we're going to go back to the phone lines and say hello to another caller. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, my name's Alondra, and I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's
I'm a
up?
student right now, and I was just wondering, how can I make the most of my college experience while I am here right now?
What year are you? Are you a freshman, a sophomore, a junior?
I'm a junior.
A junior. Okay. And you sound sociable, so that's good. You got that down, right? You call in here. The thing is college is such a special time, and not everybody gets to go away to college or go to like a university where they live on their own and they're able to mingle amongst other students their age. And my time at University of Oregon was, football games and clubs and all of that. You want to make sure that you diversify your time. Number one has to be your studies, right? Because boy, it is so important to come out of school with some secret sauce, some little special edge that makes you different than other candidates. So make sure that's priority one. But priority two, consider evolving yourself with new passions. I mean, when I was at the University of Oregon in my last semester, I'd completed all the hard classes. I was taking golf. I got PADI certified. I took trampoline. I mean, you name it. Just fun courses to, help diversify who I was as a person and have me try new things. Now, trust me, as a legally blind person today, I'm not doing a ton of trampoline, but it was a hoot back in the day. And then also, finding ways to be social, whether that's a sorority, fraternity, clubs. But it's really important to also make sure that you have self-care because it's really easy to be a yes person. Yes, 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 yes. But what happens? Then you get burned out, right? The grades might start to slip, right? So
Yeah.
You also have to make sure that you have personal time. So how are you doing on that balance?
I mean, I guess I'm okay. I like to balance out my education. I like to make sure that I'm focusing on my studies, which I feel like is why I haven't been really focusing on socializing as much.
The social aspect is really right almost equally important though, because so many jobs sometimes are given to candidates because of that social. Because when you're being interviewed by somebody down the line, if you can have a hobby and interest, the same, like if they like golf and you like golf, or if you can find out that they're from a certain town or a certain state and you've traveled there and you've been there. So sometimes it's not just about what's on the resume. It's not just about the skills and the education. So you kind of want to have that balance. That's why a lot of people do join clubs or sororities or fraternities because they hope down the line that gives them, again, that extra edge. So with the time that you have, really balance it out. And maybe you're not full on social 7 days a week, but maybe make it an effort to be 2 days a week. Do something 2 days a week. And then maybe it'll be 3 days a week, but just do what is comfortable. Can you try that?
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. And I love that she asked that question, right? Because again, it is complicated. We have this balance in life where we're supposed to check all these boxes, right? Have a career, have a family, get married, all these life milestones. But at the same time, life is full of color, right? You want to try things and say, oh, I'm not good at that. And then you'll try something else and you're like, oh my gosh, I love it. But if you don't try, you'll never know. So when we're talking today about doing what it takes to enjoy life, to get that bite of the apple, to live full out, you got to do what it takes. You got to try things and put yourself out there. So stay with us. We're going to be coming right back with our inspirational guest, Gavigan. Again, being stabbed, abused by gang members, terrifying. But he'll share his story, and within that will be lessons for you that you can apply to your life so that today you can turn a new page and do what it takes to achieve that goal and get out of circumstances that may be toxic or unmotivating. Stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Bootcamp. During the bootcamp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about doing what it takes. But sometimes that is so much easier said than done, right? Because there's emotions, there's fears, there's so many things that can hold us back from being free from a situation. But it's quandaries like that, it's moments like that we search for inspirational guests that will bring you the empowerment that you need to get out of a situation into a more positive place, or help you to have a little bit more clear focus to troubleshoot a situation. So today I very much like to welcome Ed Gavigan to the show because he was stabbed by multiple gang members. But you know what? He is here today, standing tall on his 2 feet. And you know what? He is living full out. But how did he get from that place of pain, fearfulness, to a place of being empowered and strong? So I'd like to welcome Ed to the show.
Thanks, Nancy. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, and you know what? Boy, it sounds like an easier said than done situation, right? How do you go from that moment to the dynamic person you are today? I want to take our audience back, right? Kind of set the scene. It's before Thanksgiving, day before Thanksgiving. And, you know, nighttime is kind of a creepy time at night, especially late night. But the amazing thing about your story is you were only walking 1 block from the bar that you were at to your friend's place, your friend's bar. But a lot can happen in 1 block. And, I want everybody to be safe with driving, with walking, because it's not a far distance where something happens. It can be in a, blink of an eye. Can you share with us kind of what you saw and what happened?
Well, I was a partner in a bar, and I was closing up about 2 a.m. the night before Thanksgiving. And I was going to meet a friend at a restaurant nearby. And so the streets were deserted at that hour because everyone was either out of town or home in bed, ready to get up early and travel in the morning. And I was going to my friend's restaurant to say goodnight and then head on home. And I had a whole list of things that I had planned for the next day and, for the way things were going to be for the rest of my life, pretty much. And as I turned the corner, these 3 gang members had come in from Brooklyn as part of an initiation. They were supposed to kill somebody, and they had a lookout at either end of the block to help them, make sure that there weren't passersby or police or anything. And I happened to be the person who turned the corner at a moment when the whole block was empty, and those lookouts gave go-ahead to the 3 kids, and they had their knives out, kind of up their sleeve, and they started walking toward me. And I saw these 3 young teenagers coming toward me. I was young and fit, and I was not afraid. But I also, being a New Yorker, thought I don't want to walk in between them to kind of, expect them to part and let me pass. So I thought what I would do, and again, with no sense of menace or sense of impending anything, I just thought, I'm going to step to the side and put my back to this wall while they pass, and then I'll continue to walk. But they didn't pass. As soon as they got to me, they just pounced on me and began to stab me. So,
wow. The thing that's amazing about your story, so many aspects of it, but one of the individuals had like a 10-inch knife. I mean, we're talking serious knives. Were you feeling that pain, or were you having like an out-of-body experience?
Well, one of the very lucky things about my life up until that point, when I was in college, I was at Notre Dame. I was on the boxing team. So some part of my, deep muscle memory, all those years of training, and I had been, I still train boxing to this day, that as soon as I saw their hands come up to strike me, I didn't realize they had knives, but I saw their hand come up and, the knife with the 10-inch blade plunged into my neck. I began to punch. I put my hands up in a defensive posture, and then it doesn't hurt to be stabbed as much as you would think. I think I learned a little bit about anatomy. You don't have many nerves on the inside. So what hurts is at the skin and the muscle level. It feels like being cut, but it was more the shock of being attacked that really kind of preoccupied me. And then after I was stabbed half a dozen times, the sense of drowning, of my lungs filling up with blood and me suffocating, was really an overwhelming sense that I was in really bad shape and was probably not going to make it. I didn't necessarily feel any pain from the knives at that point.
The interesting thing is, it just takes one good punch, right? And you got that one shot to get out of the situation.
Well, the other thing I did that I learned later, as I tried to go back through that night, is that I screamed with this furious, enraged, terrified scream. And what that did was let people who lived upstairs down the block know, you could tell by the tone of my scream that I wasn't, some drunken guy out, yelling. And that about a dozen people called 911 in the first minute. So my scream, I would say that anytime, people try not to make a scene, or they don't want to be, stand out or cause a fuss. But in a situation like that, when you're being attacked, if you scream, you can get help. And that was one thing that I did. And then the second thing was that I knocked a guy down that I punched, which kind of rattled everybody else and made them stop stabbing me, and it gave me a minute to break away and begin to run. So I would say running away and screaming are two very good defensive actions to take.
But you know what? I'm so glad you said that, because it doesn't matter if someone's trying to kidnap you or stab you or whatever. You have to fight, never get into somebody's car, make sure you're never taken to that second location. And punch, fight, scream, exactly what you did. Now, we're going to be going to a quick break here, and so I want you to stay with us, Ed. And everybody listening to his story today, this could have been any of us. And it isn't that we have to walk in fear, but I think it's really about being alert, being ready if you need to have those survival skills kick in. But most of all, living full out is about learning how to get out of a situation. So we appreciate Ed sharing that with us today. So I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show, talking about doing what it takes. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way with just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about doing what it takes. And we have brought you an inspirational guest today, Ed Gavigan, who had to really get through not just the physical rehab after being stabbed by gang members, but also finding his way, emotionally and finding a way to bring a new focus, a new normal into his life, which we've all had to go through at one time and another. So I'd like to welcome Ed back to the show.
Thanks, Nancy.
And, Ed, I'm just curious. So, with those survival skills that you had from being a boxer and screaming and punching and getting your way out of the situation, when it was all said and done and you got to the hospital, what were your injuries? What was the final result of what had occurred?
Well, I learned more about anatomy than I ever wanted to know. The doctor started naming the things that he removed. I lost about 12 feet of my intestines and organs that I didn't know the names of until they were gone. I had 2 lungs. Both lungs were collapsed. And there's a large vein that brings all of your blood back to your heart. It's about the size of a garden hose that was cut, called your inferior vena cava, which is almost always fatal. So it was quite a wide range of injuries.
Well, and there's the saying, right? Bad things happen to good people. You're good people. And this was a random bad thing that happened. And I know at that time, you were self-employed, you didn't have insurance, just kind of this combination of chaos. And then, to get home and kind of have to fend for yourself. How did you not just want to give up? Because so many times, the woe's me, but even beyond the woe's me and the pity party is the reality of, expenses and starting over and losing your home because you can't pay your bills. And how did you get through that time?
Well, it was very, very difficult, and I lost my hope any number of times. And I think the first thing that I had to do to move forward was to lose the idea that things are fair. I just needed to put that idea away because there was no way to make up to me what had been taken in terms of my health and my livelihood and my sense of being in the world. And so once I understood that it was so unfair and there was nobody going to make it fair and that I needed to move through and find a way forward and to try and move into a new life that did not keep looking back at what had been lost. There was so much I had to let go. And until I knew that I was letting it go, it was very difficult to move into where I needed to be.
Well, and I'm curious because, in your case, obviously, all 5 of these teenagers were there to try to kill you, How did you grasp the idea of forgiving or finding some way to understand? Because you got to write a victim statement. You got to actually go to 5 different trials and talk to each of these boys. What did you say?
Well, my initial thought was rage, and I thought when I see them again, I would like to kill them. I want to do to them some horrible, painful thing. And then, as the day moved closer to the court dates, and then I started to think about how they were teenagers, and I was so grateful to be alive. I let that rage kind of dissipate. It was very real when I felt it, and I was absolutely intent on, living out that rage. But it did pass. And then when I saw the kids in person, and I realized they didn't even look old enough to buy cigarettes, and here they had made this mistake that changed all of our lives, forever. You look at them and think, you have some pity, and you think, here these kids they want what everybody wants, which is a sense of belonging and a sense of safety, and they were turning to a gang for it and doing horrific acts, and yet they were so young that I said to each of them, you need to change your life, and I don't know if you're going to get help doing that in prison or not, but you need to change your life. And because I didn't die, you're going to get out of prison sooner, and you're going to be able to get on with your life like I'm getting on with mine. But we're both going to get second chances, and I want you to make the most of it.
I love that. And second chances are ones that we have to grab with both hands and really run with, because, I'm so thankful that you're here with us today. And I did not realize until really in the last several years just how grateful I am that I've had my legal blindness, my visual impairment. I mean, it's kind of awkward to say I'm happy to be blind, but one of the things it's done for me is I don't see a lot of things. I don't see homeless. I don't see race. I don't see certain things. But for you, I know it was hard for you when you saw teenage boys get on the subway. I know that did really pull triggers into taking you back to that night. And so many people that go through a traumatic situation have those triggers. How did you overcome that?
Well, that was the most difficult thing is recognizing, what PTSD, post-traumatic stress, is and how it works, and realizing that your brain packs up those memories and puts them in a place that is different than your regular memories, and you have to work through them over time. And if you ignore it, they don't go away. And at the same time, you have to realize that you're not broken irreparably. Your brain has been hurt badly, and that there are ways around it, and that you can get better. Like you get stitches when you're cut, or a cast when you break your arm. There's ways to help your brain, and we know more about them now, unfortunately, because of the wars that we've been in. But we know more about how to help PTSD sufferers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm glad you touched on that because, at one time in your life, you felt broken as a man. You felt like the mountain was too high. And I think for a lot of people, whether it's financial crises in their life or heartbreak or any sort of loss, it's hard to see the light. And what gave you that glimmer? What kept you going?
Well, I think I tried to keep going, partly out of stubbornness. I didn't want to be defined by someone else's bad acts, and I wanted to get past it, and I wanted to find out how to move forward. And then I learned that there were some people that loved me and that wanted to help me, and that I could let them know that I needed help and how I needed help, and count on those people, and take the resources that were available, and then just never quit. That's a big. I just never wanted to be beaten.
Yeah. I can appreciate that because you have that powerful punch. Don't forget that, people. He's a boxer. But the thing is I invite everybody to look at his YouTube videos online. They're very powerful, very emotional, and I appreciate that honesty. But the other thing I wanted to ask you real quick is people just say awkward things, right? Like when people say to me, "Oh my God, I'm blind without my contacts," right? I'm like, you don't know what blind really is like until you're blind, right? And I know you really went through a lot of that with people saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Well, it's good until you're almost killed. What do you say to those people?
Well, the thing that it's very hard to hear those things, and I imagine you hear even more than I do. But the thing to try and help is just think they're not saying it out of meanness or hurt or desire to hurt. They're just saying it out of a little bit of ignorance. And so I would say the most important thing that I've learned when I'm trying to help someone who's recently been traumatized is, don't tell them anything. Just listen. Just see if you can listen. And don't try and offer advice. Wait to hear from them, because most of the time you're talking into something that you don't know what it's like to be in. And it's more helpful to listen to someone than it is to tell them what to do.
I love that. Last question for you, my friend Ed. What does living full out mean to you? Because someone who just escaped being killed, what does living full out mean to you?
Well, I would say try and continue to do your best, with what you have available, and then try not to ruin other people doing their best.
Yeah. And what I hear right there is laughter. You have to laugh through it, right? I mean, you can't laugh through everything, but I'm so glad you're with us today. And thank you for sharing your story, Ed. And
thank you for all you do.
Thank you. And we'll be wishing you all the best, okay?
Thanks. You too. All right.
And the thing about Ed's story, which is so amazing, is that he gave us so many life lessons. But the thing is you all have been through something. Everybody listening today, if you've overcome that mountain, if you've gotten through a crisis and you have a story that you'd like to share with our community and potentially be a guest on our show, I'd really like to hear from you, because that's what this whole environment, this whole show is about. It's about supporting and motivating each other. So go to connect@livingfullout.com. Let us know what you overcame, and perhaps we'll have you on the show, and you can, just like Ed, can inspire our audience. Also, when we come back, we're going to be taking more of your calls. That number is 800-333-0001. Want to make sure that you listen to today's show again by going to livingfullout.com or checking us out in the App Store or on Alexa. Just look for Living Full Out Radio. We're right beside you every day, cheering you on to live full out. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment.
Hey, guys, check out my new video game.
Mom, what?
Huh?
Pew, pew. What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When it comes to doing what it takes, you really want to make sure that you muster that energy, that inspiration that you have inside. Don't let the bullies, don't let the circumstance overpower you and take your power away. You want to say, I am worth it. I can do this. I can get past this. Make sure to choose the positive words to guide you towards living full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you again for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about doing what it takes. And I really want y'all to know, I get it, right? Those days that are heavy, there's this dark cloud, and sometimes because you're sad or you've recently lost someone you love or you've been disappointed. But I want you to know that you have the ability to part those dark clouds. Because if you reach out for help, like calling into this show or calling a friend or just getting out of your funk by getting out of the environment that you're in, rather than staying in your home and in that sad place, open that door and go anywhere. You can't be sad when you hear children laughing, the birds chirping, when you feel the warm or cool air on your face, when you hear music that makes you smile and maybe gives you that hip shake or shoulder shake, right? There's certain elements of life, different sounds, different tastes, people that can help bring you from a place of despair to a place of promise. Now, I am getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. Let's go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. My name is Megan, and I have a question for you.
Yes, what's going on?
So I recently went back to school in order to get my master's degree. And right before this, I was also diagnosed with a chronic illness. So my question for you is, how would you recommend balancing my school schedule, my work schedule, and my health?
It's a lot, right?
It is.
and I say that because I think sometimes you just, number one, have to breathe, right? I think people discount the breathing, right? Because on a day when things are epic with your body, the chronic pain is its worse. It seems like that's always the day that there's an exam, right? It's always the same day that there's a deadline, right? Everything usually happens at one time. So make sure you breathe. Number two, you know your body best. Now, chronic pain likes to kind of mess with our mind a bit. It likes to kind of come at the most inconvenient times. But for example, do you find that, you function better in the morning, in the evening?
Usually in the morning.
Okay. So again, when you're considering how to be at your best, you want to have morning classes. You want to have morning work. Like you want to plan out your day, plan out how you're navigating all that you're doing by the times that your body feels its best. And then maybe there's times that you can be physically less, restricted. So like to study takes mental energy, doesn't always take physical energy. So maybe that's a nighttime thing. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of finding that balance. The other thing I really want you to consider are support groups, okay? Whatever that condition is that you were given, and the promise, the struggles that you're going through, others have gone through it too. And while there's not a cure necessarily or like a secret sauce to help on those hard days, I think it's really beneficial to have an environment where you're hearing how other people got out of a hard day, of a situation. And so while calling in here, I'm here to support you and motivate you. And I hope some of the words I've said have helped you. But the power of being around other people, like for me, being legally blind, I have found that when I go to organizations where there's other visually impaired, other blind people, they actually blow my socks off because I learn about things I didn't know were possible, right? I learn about free things, low-cost things, different ways in which I can be more independent and function at my best. So I'm just wondering, if you plug into communities that have the same condition you do, who knows what resources are possible? Can you try that?
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay, well, thank you so much for calling in, and keep your chin up. You're going to do great, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, we've been talking about doing what it takes. And sometimes that's going to mean that you're going to have to rally and give it your all mentally, emotionally. Sometimes physically, you're going to just have to crawl through the trenches to get to the other side. And that's going to be exhausting, but no, you can do it. And I want to thank everybody who listened to the show today, because really, we're here for you. We want to motivate you. But reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. If there's a topic that you'd like us to bring to the forefront, or if there's a guest that you would like to see on the show, because perhaps you've heard their story before and you think that they're inspiring, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Our entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening. We have Rich and Eilish and so many people that want to make sure that you are on point, living your dream, living full out, most of all, doing what it takes to retain your power in your life, speak positively, choose those words wisely, and most of all, just do your best, okay? Here's to you living your life full out, and I'll be seeing you all on our next show. Make sure to check us out. If you have Alexa, or if you have an iPhone or Android, go to the App Store, just look for Living Full Out Radio, or go to our website, livingfullout.com, to hear this show and all of our shows again. Here's to you living your life full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.